Hi, this is Anita from Anita Louise Art. Today we want to talk a little bit about some of the top Renaissance artists. And normally when you think about Renaissance artists, most of us will think about what we consider to be the Trinity, or the three top Renaissance artists, or the names that we tend to know the most, which is Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. And those three are certainly three important artists. And we can't talk about the Renaissance art without really speaking about them, especially Leonardo da Vinci. You know, when you have a list of what your top artists are, and I've written a blog post which is entitled 21 Renaissance Artists and Their Works of Art. So if you'd like to find out more about the Renaissance and the Renaissance artists, I recommend that you go to AnitaLouiseArt.com and you check out our blog that we've written about 21 top Renaissance artists. Today we're just going to touch on the lives of a couple of them. You know, Leonardo da Vinci was certainly one of the greats, and he was one of the most significant Renaissance artists, and he's considered to be the all-time Renaissance man. But surprisingly, as Leonardo da Vinci really didn't paint many paintings. He was very busy to be doing other things. He was known to be a slow painter, and he was notoriously slow, that he wouldn't show up sometimes for days, and then he would, show up again, a few days later, and then he'd disappear for days on end. He was busy out studying the human body, studying philosophy, creating his inventions. I don't know whether he really saw himself as an artist or not, but certainly he's most known for his art because he's considered one of the all-time greatest artists. His painting Mona Lisa is one of the most viewed paintings in the world, and it's also one of the most popular paintings. So that just shows you how important Leonardo da Vinci is, not only to the Renaissance movement, but to art in general. Michelangelo was considered to be a high Renaissance master. He's really well known from, his statue of David, and also for the Sistine Chapel ceiling. He was considered, Renaissance classic and is regarded as the most famous and essential artist of all times. When you talk about Michelangelo, you really need to talk about, that he worked in various mediums. He worked in painting and he worked in sculpting. So he obviously was extremely talented. Another artist is Raphael. And Raphael is really a kind of sort of a sweet, sort of shy guy. He's usually mentioned together with Leonardo and Michelangelo, and which the three of them consider to be the trinity of it. His work is admired because of its clarity of form, its composition, and how visually appealing it is. He had many masterpieces, and what's really sad about Raphael is that most people may not realize, because he's such a well-known artist, is he actually died quite young. He was only 37 years old when he died. And so he died much younger than Leonardo or Michelangelo. But that really shows what a great artist he was. Sometimes I wonder that if he had lived longer, how much more he could have developed as an artist. Another famous artist who's not known so well maybe, but is another one, which is Giovanni Bellini. And he was celebrated for his use of natural light. And he was, he was also Italian. And he, produced, several paintings that are quite well known. He lived and worked in Venice for his entire life. And Bellini had a long and distinguished career and is known as the artist who introduced the Renaissance style to his native Venice, Italy. So he's very important because he's the person who really helped the Renaissance get started in Venice. Another artist that I want to talk about is Andrea del Verrocchio. And he's important because he trained many of the other important artists. He was a sculptor, painter, a goldsmith, who was also a master, and he had an influential workshop in Florence. He was known to train many of the other important Renaissance artists, including Leonardo da Vinci and several others. So this is what really makes him as an important artist, because he helped to inspire or to be able to change the Renaissance through his art. If you go onto our website, you will find there many of the other artists there that they have some unique stories and some interesting things to be able to give. And if you're interested to find out what we consider to be some of the top 21 artists that ever lived in the Renaissance, we invite you to go to our blog, Anita Louise Art, and to check out our blog post, which will also put a link in the description for you to be able to go there. We hope you've enjoyed our video, and if you've enjoyed this video, take some time and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to be able to hear from you, and we'd love to have you become part of our community. Thank you so much for listening.